Does marijuana help with ADHD? I'm open to anything, I just need to be helped. When you say help with ADHD, may I ask what you mean? So what if I use it to sleep or like when I'm anxious? Am I gonna be okay? Can I safely smoke? That's a great question. I would not be surprised if smoking initially helped out with your ADHD or your anxiety. But when it comes to its therapeutic benefits, we don't have that much information. At least when it comes to evidence-based information, that is. What about the downsides? So according to the literature, we do know that marijuana can impair your motivation and your memory. And those are two things that you might struggle with already, with having ADHD. Oh, I had no idea. Yeah, it's important to be educated. Eventually, I do hope that we have some evidence-based information that talks about some of the therapeutic benefits. But for now, this is what we know, and I hope it helps you out. Big help. Thanks for listening to me. I know that was a tricky question. No worries, that's what I'm here for. No question is a bad question. I'm afraid I'll get addicted, so I don't want to take the medications that you prescribed me. I knew you were going to ask this question, but I do have some good news. What's that? Well, I already reviewed the literature, and I didn't find any evidence that showed that taking stimulants for ADHD as a child led to addiction issues as an adult. Keep in mind, you're actually prescribed this. That feels really good to know. Yes, but keep in mind that these stimulants are habit forming, so some people may try to abuse them. But for you, if this medication works, it can really help to improve the quality of your life. Thanks, I appreciate you once again. Anytime, I got your back. I don't know if it's the ADHD or something else, but I still think about my friend who passed away years ago. I'm so sorry to hear that. When did your friend pass away? Around 2018, but it's still hard sometimes. Well, if it helps, I want you to know that sometimes with ADHD, you can feel emotions at an intense level. And because of that, you may experience grief differently. But I do want you to grieve in your own way. What do you mean? I'm saying that everyone grieves differently, and that there should be no timetable on grief. Keep in mind that grief is not a linear process. Hopefully that gives you some relief. Thanks, that means a lot to me. I thought I was losing my mind or something. Hey, is it true that women with ADHD are more likely to develop an eating disorder? I'm asking for my sister because we both have ADHD. I've been looking through the evidence, and I've seen literature that suggests that women with ADHD are 3 times more likely to develop an eating disorder as compared to women without ADHD. Oh wow. What does that mean for my sister? It just means that we should all be aware. No need to panic. Sometimes ADHD does present with other mental health conditions, and in my opinion, we should be paying attention to all of those so we can take the best care of our patients. Thank you for clarifying. I'll let her know. If you have ADHD and you have a hard time being consistent with anything, this video is for you, okay? So I want you to understand that with ADHD, it can be a little bit more difficult, right, than the average neurotypical person to be consistent with certain things. But I want you to pace yourself and understand that when you're doing something that's exciting or something that's new or something that's challenging, you'll be more engaged. So I want you to take the tasks that you have to do, and I want you to find new and creative ways to make them fun, right? Whether you're doing them from front to back or from back to front, or maybe you're gonna do your homework in a different environment. Find different ways to make the boring things fun, and that could help you set up a more consistent routine. So hopefully this helps, and I'm rooting for you. If you have ADHD and you've been in a relationship where everything was great in the beginning, y'all were spending every single day together, you were doing all these activities, and over time, the effort dropped, right? And you didn't feel any differently about the person, but you just kind of got a little bit busier, right? Or you didn't have as much time to dedicate to doing certain things. Then I want you to know you're not alone, right? With the ADHD brain, a lot of times the things that fascinate us are things that either have like a time limit on it, there's a deadline coming up, or things that are new and exciting, right? Or something that's unpredictable, something that keeps us curious and keeps us going. So a lot of times in relationships is that same exact way, right? And what you can do to help prevent this love bombing sort of thing, right? It's not love bombing, but it almost seems like that. One thing that you can do is to set boundaries in the beginning, right? Make sure that you're taking some time to spend with yourself as you meet this new person, and pace yourself. So that way you're not letting somebody, feel that hurt at the end when the dopamine wears off, right? So I just thought I'd share that with you. If you have ADHD and you also happen to struggle with motivation like me, I want you to ask yourself one very important fundamental question. Ask yourself, am I trying new things, right? Now this might not make sense, especially if you're also struggling with anxiety, depression, and things of that nature. But with ADHD, when you try new and exciting things and you realize that you're having fun, you're actually able to do those things easier because it's new to you, right? So things that we've never done before that we actually enjoy, it doesn't take that much effort, right? And as we know, with motivation, it comes and goes, so it's hard to plan anything around that, right? But I want you to ask yourself, are you trying new things? Are you having fun? Can you put yourself out there? It doesn't have to be anything big, but if there's something new that you can try, I say give it a shot. And then come back, of course, and let me know how that works out for you. If you have ADHD and you're like me and you also happen to struggle with motivation, I want you to ask yourself 2 questions that could change your life, all right? The first question that I want you to ask about the task that you have to do is this thing interesting? Keep in mind that with the ADHD brain, with things that are interesting, you're gonna have an easier time doing it because you have that genuine interest in it. So it's not as hard to complete, right? And the second question that I want you to ask is this task urgent? As we all know, sometimes with the ADHD brain, when you have a deadline and it's right in front of you, you're gonna get that thing done. But without that deadline, you may procrastinate and wait for weeks and maybe months until that deadline creeps up on you and you have no choice but to complete it, right? But asking yourself these 2 questions when you have to get tasks done can help you out, all right? And like I always say, make sure you're having fun. With ADHD, you know, it can be up and down battle, but make sure that you are actually having fun. 3 simple tips for managing your ADHD at home. So first, you want to start your day off with a high protein breakfast, so that way you have energy to get you throughout the day. Then I want your first task of the day to be something super simple, something you know you can accomplish. This is going to be good for our self-esteem. And the last tip to remember is that it's okay to take a break. You're one person and you can't do it all. And that break is going to be something that's going to help you out as you go throughout your day. Let me know in the comments down below if these tips are helpful for you. Is it possible to be diagnosed with ADHD and a personality disorder? That's a great question, right? So in my experience, it's rare. I wouldn't say rare, but a lot of times when I have a patient with ADHD, I normally don't just see that, right? You'll see something else along with it, right? A lot of times I see ADHD along with anxiety or depression, right? Or ADHD with somebody who might also be struggling with an eating disorder, right? So ADHD can come with a lot of other conditions, so you have to be mindful of that. And when it comes to personality disorders, I have seen many patients who have had ADHD and a personality disorder like borderline, right? So it's not uncommon for somebody with ADHD to also have a personality disorder. This might complicate, treatment, but it's not impossible. And there's definitely so much hope for anybody who has ADHD with or without a personality disorder. Philana G, I like your name. That's why I put reminders for everything. I can relate. I have reminders for waking up in the morning to see a patient. I have reminders to create content. I have reminders on my phone even to call my parents. Like I might forget to call and check up on the people that I love the most because I get so wrapped up in, just living life. So I use reminders for everything. Reminders to take the dog out for a walk. Reminders to eat. I might forget to eat. I might be so busy that it's hard to eat. Reminder to go to sleep on time. Reminder to hit the gym. Reminder to take a break. So there's no shame in having to use a reminder. Just know that whatever you have to do to take care of yourself, you shouldn't have to apologize for that. If I don't do it in that moment, it's never getting done. My biggest issue is constantly losing my keys, phone, and wallet. I can relate. And one thing that has been helpful for me is the 1 minute rule. If you can get it done in 1 minute, no need to procrastinate on that thing. So hopefully this helps you out. All right, this is a good question right here. So by having ADHD, this doesn't mean that you don't live as long as somebody who doesn't have it, right? But by having ADHD, there's a higher chance of things like car accidents, right? The suicide risk is higher in this population, and even if you do die of like natural causes, things such as maybe poor lifestyle when it comes to diet and sleep, these things can all affect the life expectancy. So it's a good question right here, but I don't want you all to think that just by having ADHD you won't live as long, because with the proper education and with the right resources, there's a good chance that you can not only live but also thrive with ADHD. So good question right here.